Hello friends, neighbors, John, your neighbor here. Welcome down the neck. It is Saturday, but I'm not sure I'm going to get this out on Saturday, but whenever we are together, happy Saturday and weekend, and hope you got some rye. Today I want to talk about Sagamore Spirit Rye. This is their entrance, their classic, the first in their core range. I'm not sure how you want to say it, but this is an American whiskey because it's a blend of two straight ryes. They say one's a high, one's a low, and it's 4 to 6 years. So that's the focus of today. But then I always like to compare against another rye. Wish I had another lower proof rye, but I do have this one, and this is Knob Creek. And this is a non-age stamp, this bottle anyways, and it's a 50% or 100 proof. So we go 83 to 100. So this might be a conversation, well, it will be, about rye, but also about proof, and see what kind of proof difference kicks up, for my palate anyways, how I appreciate some American rye. So if you have any Sagamore Spirit wine, you pour a dram of that, or a little Knob Creek, come on back. 3, 4. Thanks for staying with me. As I said in the opener, we're going to talk about Sagamore Spirit. Now, I have talked with you about some Sagamore Spirit samples. People have been generous and sent me a few double oak, and I think there was a finished one, and actually I've appreciated those samples quite a bit. This is the first bottle of Sagamore I've had on the shelf, and the reason is a bit of a bargain hunter, and I had to wait for it to go on sale. This one is a mix of two straight ryes. One of them is a high rye, so I'm assuming like a 95.5, like a lot of rye. And the other is a low rye, so that could be more of a barely legal rye. And then they're blended, but I don't know what portions. And in terms of ages, it just says 4 to 6. So it's a blend of two straight ryes, 4 to 6 years old. Probably by the time it's all said and done, kind of in that middle rye, maybe in the 70% rye, the rest corn and barley. I don't know that. I'm just playing with numbers, thinking, okay, it's put out by these guys in Maryland, and I know that they are releasing their own grain to glass, or maybe they have. Actually, I think they did already, but this is sourced, so likely MGP rye, which I certainly have had a fair share. So what is this like? Sagamore, their regular rye, 83 proof or 41.5%. The lower proof doesn't hurt the nose right now. The nose is nice, it's sweet, and it's rye. And this one is rye grain, rye bread, little grass, little lemon. Yeah, maybe a little pepper, but right now it's sort of that slight eucalyptus or menthol and a little bit of lemon, and yet it's sweet, almost sugary. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. It's an interesting rye for me. It continues to be a little caramel, a little toffee sweetness, definite rye grass, lemongrass, herbal note, but there is a bit of oak in the conversation and a little bit of ginger, a little bit of maybe orange citrus too. It can go down into or rind like an old-fashioned spritzer on the edge of the glass, kind of citrus, and it's rather easy to sip. I'll try another one, see what comes out on any secondary flavor. Yeah, secondary I get as really I think as you sip along with the whiskey, you get a little more. What's the next layer? I do get a little more oak, a little more char, a little more brown sugar, so it's still quite sweet for me, and a little bit, it's related to that mint or eucalyptus or grass, but it plays just slightly into anise, a little bit of that almost black licorice. It's not strong, but it reminds me of that. It definitely plays my palate. This is lovely, easy to drink, a good full rye taste and palate. Oh, and there's a little bit of cracked pepper now. My tongue's a little like, woohoo, yep, a little fun. Which I love in rye. I love spicing in rye, and I'm glad it's there. This has a lot of all of those notes I would totally associate with a higher rye. Really like an 80-95% rye in the mash. However, the lower proof, 83 or percent, 41.5, plays here. It plays in the sense of, because it's so much flavor, it makes it very easy to sip. And now it's all drying on the long finish, which I like in rye. This is a very drinkable rye, but full rye. If eucalyptus, mint, slight dill, nah, there's not much dill in here, but and a little bit of anise, we kind of puts you off. You're really true to bourbon. I feel maybe wouldn't be drawn to this, but if you enjoy those notes in rye, but you're looking for something just to sip through the night on a deck, this one would fit the bill, or the beginning of the night, or whatever you want to call it. It's softer. That proof absolutely makes it easier, and sometimes that makes it less flavorful. Honestly, so many 40 percenters are tough to pick up because they're watery, or they just don't carry the flavors through that higher ABV does, at least for me, and I think for many of you if you're farther into your whiskey journey. This is still a lot of flavor. There are still lots of things going on. So I'm far enough into this bottle, I'm going to give it a star value, and I'm surprising myself. I'm going to say 3 3/4. The challenge that I have with this is the value. Yes, I got it on, I don't know what, 20 bucks off. Like, I got it on a good sale. So I feel okay having it. Having that lower ABV, it's not going to kick up cocktails, it's not going to blow you away, and it's priced at a premium, and this is still sourced liquid. So it's really tough for me to recommend. In fact, all of that is why I didn't kick it off into maybe 4, because it's tasty. This is a tasty draft. What do you guys think about it? Put it on down below. So I wanted to shoot it against another American rye, and actually right now I'm pretty thin on rye, which is strange because I like rye. But I do have this Knob Creek, and this Knob Creek is, for me up here, just their standard release. So it's 100 proof or 50%, so it's got quite a bit more kick than Sagamore up here. But it doesn't say on the back or on the side or anywhere in age, and I believe the current Knob Creek rye is coming out at 7 years. Their bourbon now is back to 9. Every bottle has 9. This does have the new bottle feel, like it's that square but lumpy bumpy or whatever that is, which is kind of neat. So maybe this is all we're going to get up here in Canada, but this one's a NAS, which makes me think, because ryes can be younger, it's probably kicking under 7, like it's probably a 5 to 6 year product. Total guess. Also total guess, but everything you look online would probably back this up, is that this is a barely legal rye. It's low rye, which means it could be as low as 51% rye and the rest in corn and maybe 5% malted barley to open that up in the mash. I don't know that, but I have had a couple of bottles of Knob Creek rye in the past, and let's see what it gets. It suggests a low rye. On the nose, Knob Creek. Sorry to take a little extra time there, but this one is, in contrast, far more caramels, far more sweetness, and brown sugars, vanillas, even a bit of light cherry in there, but sweet maraschino, like a cocktail cherry. And a little prickly on the edges. There's a little bit of rye spice in there, but I would say in contrast, oh yeah, oh, this is coming back softer, but a full higher rye bread, rye grassy rye, where this is a spicy bourbon in this comparison. Now I came back to it and I actually did get a little bit more rye note, actually giving it a bit more time. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. Actually, it's really tasty. It's got some nice breaded cinnamon bun in here, but now I am getting some true rye, a little bit more, some citrus in there. Actually very similar in terms of citrus quality, but we're lemon. This is softer, so like not softer, it's punchier. We'll get there in a second, but the citrus is softer, and it's got far more cinnamon bun brown sugars. It totally tastes like a barely legal rye. I'm gonna go in to see if a little more is going on, and the second sip brings me some nice peppering, white and black pepper, like it's a pepper, nice spice, more oak actually than this overall. So there's some tannin, some black tea, and just oak. It's drying, even though I'm quite sure this is higher rye, and rye always dries my palate. This right now, much more drying. And now some cinnamon with the cracked pepper, spicy cinnamons, candy red heart cinnamon type, because there's still sugars kicking around. Gets better in the finish, much better. And I suggest some of that is the higher alcohol. You're at 50% instead of 41.5%. And that carries through some flavors that I suggest as the alcohol really clears out of your palate. Now we've carried into us some other spicing, especially those oaks and those peppers and the other stuff I was getting on the secondary. I like that rye. It's a great rye, and it's also very affordable rye in my neighborhood. I got it on sale for like $39. This on sale, it was, what was it, 56, and that was a sale. I think it was 56. I don't know. So I will share with you right now, while this is very drinkable and perhaps a little classier bottle, I'll probably enjoy this, and in a couple of years buy another bottle of that. Before this, although I've heard, and the samples of the double oak was good, and the finished, was it a sherried rye, was also really good. So I'm not ruling out Sagamore. This is a solid rye. This doesn't really rate any higher. It's like 3.5 even stars. Really, it's almost less. I think I said 3.75, but just giving you a slice of character of what kind of rye drinker I am. This has got lots of good flavor in it. It is spicier and hotter, but that's because of the ABV. I would suggest it's got more brown sugar, cinnamon bun, certainly less rye, less slight dill, less almost anise black licorice that this has. So for bourbon drinkers that like a little spicier kick, want to try a little bit of rye, this is a total appeal. For those of you that truly are right into rye, enjoying ryes, 95.5, 100% ryes are your jam, even though this is lower ABV, this would be what I would recommend. This is far truer to a rye palate than this Knob Creek. But this is actually still quite tasty and rather affordable. Those are my kind of roundup thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you have more Sagamore on the shelf? Do you like Knob Creek? Let me know. Thanks for joining me. Hope you guys have a great week.